Good day guys, Stefan here again from Diesel Tech, back with a short video regarding our recovery slash self-assist gear that we have. It's something also that I wanted to do and just showcase what we have. Given my earth moving background trade that I have, or mechanical trade if you want to call it that, I think it's fair to say that the stuff, especially the tools that I would take along, are really the bare necessities, but also crucial or critical in a sense of it will serve a multi-purpose role, in a sense of you should be able to get yourself at least from wherever you might have an issue next to the road, if you're by yourself especially, just to the next town or just to the next civilization spot where you can actually get better assistance or parts or whatever it is that you require to get back onto the road again. So let me run you through everything quickly and show you what we've got up until the latest edition that I decided to get. It was on my mind for quite a long time whether I should or should not get it, but after the latest incident I had with a company vehicle along a dry river bed, actually that wasn't that dry underneath, and I got stuck there properly, I decided that there and then that recovery tracks, that was the last item on my list that I wanted to get. So I did do the effort and got those as well, so now at least I can get myself out of the crap. If you're by yourself especially, then it's better than having nothing. So like most of us, you start off with a vehicle. You get a vehicle to go and do your camping trips or camping ideas or ventures that you want to tackle, and you want to go and see some places. And then sooner rather than later you realize that it would have been nice to have on that day that whatever happened, you might have ended in some kind of scenario, that it would have been nice to have at least A, B or C or D on hand on the day. It would have made your life a little bit easier, but you learn as you go. And also you don't just want to go and spend an unnecessary school fees, like what I like to call them, and just go and buy a bunch of stuff that you've seen either online or heard from friends of yours, but you can actually not really use them unless you have something else in that kit that works alongside to whatever it is that you bought. So I'm a firm believer, and I've always been through all my career where I've been up into Africa a little bit for a couple of years, and having the correct gear on hand, plan for the worst and hope for the best kind of idea, so that you can kind of recover or get yourself out of trouble. If there's assistance along the way, that's a bonus, but don't always rely or bargain on that assistance next to the road, because it might just not happen. So we've started off initially, got the vehicle obviously. First thing I chucked on there was a few basic tools like little spanners and screwdrivers, pliers, tyre repair kit, a few sockets maybe, and then shortly after that I got a compressor, 160 litre per minute compressor that I bought, just to deflate or inflate, or when you deflate, just to inflate the tires afterwards again. Then after that I got myself one of these, I think it's safe to call it a tow bar, or yeah, I suppose it's a tow bar. It slots into the position where your actual tow hook with a ball that you would use to tow a trailer goes into. So you take that thing out and you slot the square in there, and it's built and designed that you can put a shackle into it with a sling for recovery. So then I got that. Jumper cables, or I know them as jumper cables, but it's basically to jump start your vehicle if you have a flat battery. That's the other first thing, one of the first things that I put onto the vehicle. Not only for yourself, but sometimes you find people next to the road that needs assistance on the flat battery, then at least you can help them out just by jump starting their vehicle. So that's kind of the basic stuff that I would say you really need on your car. So at least if you can't help yourself and you don't know how to use all of the tools or apply the skill to do whatever is necessary at that moment, maybe somebody comes along and they can actually apply what needs to be done in order to get you back on track again. But then if you don't have the tools, then you can't apply whatever needs to be done to get yourself back into the track. So from school days, actually, we've been taught the right tool for the right job. So I'm a firm believer of that. Also, look, if it's really, I want to say, like a life and death situation, and you don't have the right tool for the job, but you've got something else that you can use on that moment to get yourself out of trouble, then by all means do that. But planning ahead and getting yourself equipped with kit that you can get yourself out of trouble with, make sure you get the right gear or the right tool for the right job. That's pretty much what it boils down to in my world, at least. So yeah, and as time went along, I ended up also getting myself I think it's a 9-ton rated tow rope, not a kinetic kind of rope that some of the guys use in extreme 4x4. I'm not a big fan of that. I will avoid it at all costs. If ever I end up in a situation like that, to do a kinetic or energy kind of recovery where the one vehicle builds up a bit of speed and then kind of jerks the other one that's stuck out of the stuck position, I would rather use the tow rope. I'm not because of due to the safety risks involved in that. I'm really not a big fan of that. So I got myself the recovery tracks and the tow rope, 9-ton rated, with soft shackles that comes with it, that I bought from Black Overland. So they've got a very nice website that I'll post all the details in there for the tow rope and all the other recovery gear that they do and have. And then the other thing that's quite a very nice, a very simple and easy tool, but a very nice tool to have, is a 5-ton little hydraulic bottle jack that I've got. Not your normal conventional mechanical wind up worm wheel type stuff that comes with the vehicles. That's the first thing you chuck out of your kit to make your vehicle lighter, and you replace that with a hydraulic. That's the main thing. It must be a hydraulic type jack that operates on a hydraulic principle. They're they are very strong and can do quite a lot of lifting in a very simple space or position that you can apply them. And also I got myself a nice thick wooden block just to widen the footprint surface of that jack. So if you end up in a position where you are stuck or you have a problem in quite soft sand or surfaces, then the jack will simply just push itself into the ground instead of lifting the vehicle up. So then you can put a block underneath just to increase the footprint size, and then that'll assist you on lifting your vehicle and doing whatever needs to be done to get going again. Oh, and how can I forget? The other very basic thing that you can get yourself is one of these little fold up little spades or shovels. That's also a very basic but useful tool to have. Digging yourself out of stuff, or helping other people digging yourself out of stuff or sticky situation, rather than versus using your hands. Believe me, that's also quite a nifty thing to have, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's not a lot of weight. So that's the other thing that you shouldn't forget, is a basic digging kind of tool, shovel or little spade like what we've got here. Okay, so let's say you've got everything in place. On the previous video that I've done, you've got your dual battery system running and sorted out. So you sorted out what concerns electricity or DC 12 volt DC backup. So your compressor obviously comes in handy with that, and that forms part of your recovery / self-assist gear. And from here on forward, if you've sorted out your electrical kit, I don't know, it's a battle of the what's more important, I suppose. But then I would say the next crucial thing is getting your gear sorted out, but having the basic gear, the first couple of basic items on hand is crucial, obviously. But once your kit is sorted out, you can just round it off nicely to make a full complement of proper kit. Everything here but the tow rope and the block and the hydraulic jack fits into an ammo crate, so it doesn't take up a lot of space, but I can get a long way with what I've got on hand here versus your standard stuff that comes with your car, which is, like I said earlier, your worm wheel mechanical type of jack and the normal tow rope, which is, I don't even think 1-ton rated. Maybe it's just, that's more for like tarmac kind of towing, if you tow somebody from one place to another. But for being out in the field and going into funny places, that will not be sufficient. So you will need a proper, I would say at least a 6 or 8-ton plus rated, safety rated tow rope actually, or sling rather, to get yourself out of the crap. So let me quickly run you through all the stuff that we have more in detail. I'll show you what I've got inside each little box. Container wise, especially I think on the tools, because some of the guys, some people don't know the difference between a spanner and a socket, but that's the purpose of me doing this video, so at least I can show you what I've got and why I have the stuff on board. And some people like myself don't know stuff about other things again, so that's why I would ask somebody else again for assistance. So it's just a matter of sharing what I know and my knowledge, and hopefully it'll help you as the viewer out there to either fill up your kit with the correct or most efficient tools available out there, and hopefully it'll help you down the line if you ever get in the unfortunate position of being stuck next to the road or with a breakdown or whatever the case, just to have the bare basics but critical essential basics on hand in order to get going again. So let me take you through everything quickly. Okay, so if I had to give up some of my stuff in my kit and say these are the absolute like minimum or necessary stuff that you should have, it would be these things. You can, if you want to, throw in the compressor there, but I mean not everybody is affiliated with the compressor or don't have either the space or the system to run a compressor, but with these things the only energy you need is pretty much your own. So starting off over here is your tow bar that goes into the back of your tow hook on the car with its locking pin. Then the two iron, what I know as D-shackles, and then your hydraulic jack. This is a 5-ton rated jack, which is more than sufficient for what you need on your car or your trailer, and it's quite easy to use. It's not a lot of effort to get it jacked up due to it being hydraulic, and this thing has helped myself and other people next to the road out of the nonsense more than like a couple of occasions at least. And then make sure whatever block you want to use or get as a platform is thick and strong enough in order to support the jack, because the last thing you want is put the jack on here, start using it, and then this whole thing basically tears apart or cracks up or falls apart, and then yeah, it doesn't mean anything. And don't think that you will, if you're lucky enough to find a rock, simply just put the rock underneath the jack and use that, because believe me, that does not work. Okay, and then make sure whatever jumper leads or cables you get or for yourself to use, I would say is at least 200 to 300 amp rated. I can't remember exactly what these are. They're not as heavy duty, it seems like the other ones that I've got at home, but at least this will get you out of the nudge. Just not anything below 150 amps, because that thing will simply just melt away on the clamps or the contact surfaces when in use. Okay, and then the little fold up spade or shovel, quite nifty. Used it once, was not on our own vehicle though, but definitely helped me out of the crap on that day. Okay, so there's the soft shackles, like I explained. And there is the Wild Dog 4x4 recovery sling. And make sure whatever you buy has got a tag indicating the safe working load, because then you know it's been trial and tested. This one says here the braking strength is, I'm not sure if you can see that, but the braking strength is 12 ton. Workload limit is 3 ton. Sorry, and the 9 I was thinking about is a length. It's a 9 meter length sling. Workload limit is 3 tons. Braking strength is 12 ton. That doesn't mean you should use it and try and pull 12 ton on it. It's just saying, it's just giving you the safe working load, which means it has been tested and rated up to 12 tons, but application load is 3 tons. And your average vehicle out there will weigh anything between, let's call it 1.8 to 2.5, maximum 3 tons. So depending on the stuck situation, you can add a bit of newtons or force to that, depending, especially if it's like muddy conditions. But simply towing or just getting somebody out of the sand, this thing will be more than efficient to do so. Okay, and then a compressor. This one is a 45 amp rated 160 liter per minute compressor, of which I removed the plug and fitted an Anderson plug for a quick connect. And obviously with its extendable and flexible air hose that comes with it. Yeah, and then this is just one of the little toolkits, if you want to call it that. There's a little ZA sticker for whenever we go to Namibia again. There's a tire deflation device here from Flex. And then there's a whole lot of other little smaller electrical stuff that I've got in here. Fuses, very important. But please don't just go to the shop and buy a handful of fuses. make sure that you buy the correct type for your vehicle, because I think you get like at least 3 or 4 different types these days, and obviously the correct rating, so that'll be anything from 5 amps to usually a maximum of 30. So make sure about the shape of the fuse, that is correct. I've got a couple of short pieces of electrical wire here, tire repair kit stuff. I know this is not the optimum type of handles, but it's better than nothing. And some glue and connector blocks and air deflation valve, isolation tape. So yeah, that's pretty much my just chuck in a box, but small applicable useful stuff. And then on the other little toolkit, this is now more the hands-on tool kind of kit. Basic Allen key set that's in here. Let's do this. Some cable ties. As you can see, I love my cable ties. Why? Because I can. Got a lot of love for cable ties, no hate over there. Again, also similar to the fuses, just some basic bolts and nuts and washers. These are a mixture of M6 and M8 size bolts and nuts, and then just your basic side cutter, pliers, and some screwdrivers. And then last but definitely not least, there's another little tool bag. So on the one side we have pretty much the wheel spanner stuff here, and what I know as water pump pliers. Water pump pliers, the difference to that of a normal set of pliers versus water pump is you can engage a lot more force and grip on water pump versus normal set of pliers. But depending the space available, is not always possible to get in here with the water pump, but nevertheless still a nice to have in my books. And in spanners I have what you call 3/8 and a half inch set sockets here, which I'll explain to you now. And then pretty much just the bars and ratchet and extensions, and basically just some flat end spanners that comes with it. Flat end meaning that the ring side is more in line and flat in relation to the rest of the spanner, versus a normal kind of spanner on a ring side. It usually makes like a little gooseneck. These are just easier to get into small and tiny spaces. Sometimes the other types are better, but I prefer these where possible. And I mean, these are really nice to have, basic stuff. You can have all the gear and all the parts available, but you don't have any spanners and tools to do the job with, or to replace that part, then you're stuck and you're sitting with your finger where you don't want to be. So pretty much what the 1/2 inch and 3/8 square mean that I referred to earlier is, if you look at this little square head over here, this is the 3/8, which is the smaller one, and this is the 1/2 inch, which is the bigger size square that you get. You also get bigger than these, which we use on the bigger machines. That's a 3/4 and a 1 inch drive size squares, but I mean on a normal car like this you will most likely never use those. So looking at the sockets at the back also, is you will see, or you will notice, the one square is a little bit bigger than the other. So in other words, you won't get a 3/8 size socket onto a 1/2 inch size tool. It'll only be 3/8 onto 3/8 and a 1/2 inch onto a 1/2 inch. But the main difference again is with the 3/8, which is a smaller version, it's just easier to get into tight spots and spaces in and around, especially the engine bay of the car. If you work on suspension parts, it's always better to use the 1/2 inch for final either initial loosening or final tightening or torque settings on most of the bolts and nuts. But for more inaccessible and smaller tiny spaces, the 3/8 ratchets and sockets are more efficient to use than a 1/2 inch. Okay, so there's the recovery tracks. That's the latest addition to our kit. Like I said, these are also just a nice to have. It's not a must to have that on your kit, but when you are or do find yourself in a position where there's no rocks or any other stuff available to put under the wheels in order to get out, then these are perfect for that circumstances. Okay, so that concludes our recovery gear, self-assist kit stuff, tools, whatever you want to call it, that we've got, and the reason why we've got what we've got. So I hope it gives you some ideas as well, and that it'll fill up your kit with useful stuff and not just dead weight. So as per usual, I will post all the links to the stuff that we've got in our kit, where we've purchased what, in the description below. Thank you for watching. Be well and stay safe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Cheers.